Welcome back to Next Gen Cast. Well, it's been a while since we did an episode.
Good minute.
Yeah, I know.
Good minute.
I mean, you said that you saw a comment recently that was like
we have a fan here that
our only one.
Yeah, our only one that was maybe like 11 months ago. Whenever we made our last upload, was like, "Oh, I'm so glad you guys are back. Oh, great." Well, sorry, guy. We didn't fulfill our promise.
When's the last time we actually did an episode?
To be fair, though, we didn't say that we were going to come back consistently.
That's true.
When's the last time we actually did an episode?
Probably
11.
I think it was Metal Gear. Remember we did whenever Metal Gear Solid 3 was announced?
Yeah, Delta?
Yeah.
It hasn't been too long.
11 months.
About
11 months, yeah.
11 months since the last upload.
Fuck, man.
I feel like we have gone way longer without doing an episode before. But the thing is that, we mean it this time. No,
We mean it this time. Well, I mean, to be fair, we're literally doing this as a hobby. We're not really.
Yeah, we just do it when we can.
Yeah.
I mean, we have like careers and stuff we're doing in our lives, and the older we get, the harder it does get to actually find time to do this. But we're not going to make excuses. We're just going to do an episode here. So today we're talking about the fall of the AAA games market, which has kind of been reported on by a lot of freaking YouTubers and a lot of big channels, and pretty sure you've all heard the things. But we just wanted to give our 2 cents into the argument, and but yeah, it's just it's been crazy because there are still a lot of good games that still come out,
Yes. Well, I think at least from my perspective, we're in a situation where how there was like a golden age of like film.
We're already past that with gaming.
Yeah, no, we are. But the thing is, like, there was a golden age of like gaming. I would say 80s, 90s, maybe a little bit into the 2000s. But the thing is, I mean, today there's a lot of schlock that's coming out when it comes to movies, and you kind of have to kind of look and just kind of wait until there's something truly great comes out. And sometimes you have your good years, sometimes you have your bad years. And I think that's just how it is with gaming nowadays.
Yeah, I remember we watched that documentary. I think it was like digital versus film or something like that. The Keanu Reeves one. Mm-hmm. And I remember there was a guy on there that was talking about like how digital was going to bring in all of this schlock. Just freaking. It was going to make it like really hard.
Was it? Wasn't it Martin Scorsese or something?
I think it might have been. Whoever said it those were words of wisdom for sure, because we're kind of seeing the same thing with the games industry, where it's just like. The tools are so readily available for people to just jump in and make a game that a lot of games kind of look and feel the same. It's just,
look no further than like the last Game Awards, which was like, about 5-6 months ago now? I mean, I don't know if you watched it, but I actually watched it. I don't know why I torture myself like this every year, but like, I always just like, I'm just hoping that I see something good. I think last year it was Virtua Fighter 6 that we were hoping that they would show.
Yeah.
They did show like, a nice little Sega teaser. Was it worth it to watch the entire thing?
No.
But, the thing is, I wasn't really, doing too much that night.
I made the choice to not watch it. It's been like, I'd say like the past maybe like 5 years. 5 years ago, I literally made the decision to just not watch these award shows or watch these like gaming event shows anymore, because I mean, dude, why do that where you can literally just wait like a couple of hours and just watch the good trailers?
Yeah.
Like that's literally all you have to do. Unfortunately, I mean, it's the magic of like, of these like shows just kind of fell off. It's just there used to be a time whenever we would like, huddle together and just like, even have like a little bit of like of an event around this like thing where we would like anticipate like, and we would get like multiple like hit announcements like back to back to back. But I mean, nowadays it's just like you just get this like really weird, like again, just like schlock. And then you just kind of come to the realization where it's like, I mean, you literally just wait a little bit. That's all you got to do. Especially nowadays, like you just, with social media, with like, just like YouTube.
A lot of people don't even really wait until these game shows, like the big companies that are making actually good games, they don't wait until a game show to show anything anymore. I mean, E3's gone. Now basically, the Game Awards are kind of the new E3 in a way because they are the pinnacle.
The big event.
Yeah, they're the pinnacle of the market of the industry now to show your latest trailer. But the thing is that you can just tell by looking at the freaking trailer at the show that they're like very selective about games that they want to show. They don't show games that are like too edgy or too freaking out. That are like outliers. That like go beyond the pale. They just are very safe with what they show these days.
In some ways, it's a little bit understandable because it is kind of weird where like one trailer there's like this trailer about this like maybe like a little boy and this dog or something, and the next one you have this fucking like these two gangs fucking just killing each other or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like it's a little.
My opinion is that like if a game, say if it was like magically the '90s again, and the Game Awards were like reporting on like or just showing new trailers for games, I don't think they would show like Mortal Kombat. I don't think they would cover it.
Yeah.
Because it's like too much of a controversy. They stay away from controversy these days.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it kind of boring though.
Yeah. And another thing is just like there's just every freaking game just feels and looks exactly the same. That was the biggest takeaway that I took away from watching the game.
I feel like it's just a lot of problems with a lot of these big corporate.
It's not even just the big corporate guys, though.
It's the big AAA developers. They always just want a big piece of the pie when it comes to like, we're going to just copy, Fortnite, and so there's a lot of games that just look and feel like Fortnite we went through it with Call of Duty, where even Ace Combat kind of like, even the trailer was saying, it's Call of Duty in the skies or whatever, and it's just
in the commercial.
Yeah, the commercial. Yeah. But it's just like everybody always wants a piece of the pie, rather than just trying to do their own thing, innovate, have their own true identity, building shit on their own engine. I mean, I feel like, I feel like I contradicted myself earlier saying that like, indie developers are going to be where the real innovation is happening. But at the same time, the tools are so readily available for these, for these indie developers that they're just going to be like putting shit out there that's like, where they're going to be just downloading assets from the Epic Game Store, just just brushing it all in their game, and to where all the textures, the lighting.
But like every single freaking game was either a first-person shooter or a third-person shooter or third-person action
or a Soulsborne like.
Yes,
game.
dude.
Yeah,
everything is like Souls-like. Everything is Call of Duty-like. Everything is
Fortnite-like.
Every single game, it just looks like they had the same exact starting point.
Yeah.
Like was, because Brian and I, we used to do like some game development.
Well, I still use Unreal Engine all the time.
Yeah. So there's just if you want to like create a game, it's like they give you like a blanket kind of like template where you can just start with a third-person character that can already walk and run and all this shit, and cameras controls.
Yeah, and it's more of like you just editing the templates to make it your own game or whatever.
Yeah, but that now we're seeing the fruits of that, as negative as they are.
Yeah.
It's
but the thing is, there are some there are some like, I don't know how to put it, but
diamonds
like
in the rough.
There's some diamonds in the rough. It's like where you can like see that there's like true innovation happening only in the indie game market.
Yeah.
But like
so like if you say for instance if they were to have a Game Awards back in the early 80s, whenever all of these freaking games were vastly different. Mm-hmm. They were so different. They were like every single game, not every single game. Of course there were copycats back then too, but like in large part there was like a lot of games like Tempest and Tetris and freaking Pac-Man and Pitfall and freaking Pole Position,
this is
and just like all these games that were just like vastly different from one another.
This is before genres were even a thing when it comes to gaming.
You think about it. Even look at the fighting games industry. Like most of everything is made with Unreal Engine, you know, and it's like everything starts like all the particle effects look the same because they use the same particle engine,
Yeah.
I feel like the only one that kind of looks different is Street Fighter because they do use the RE engine for that.
Yeah.
And it does look a little bit different, especially the facial animation and stuff like that. That's why I do give that game some credit to having a more of a unique style compared to other fighting games. But I feel like Tekken kind of looks like, it's obviously made in the same graphics engine as like Mortal Kombat.
Right.
And I just feel like, I don't know, sometimes a lot of these like the way that these game developers want to just strive for photorealism kind of like takes away from the art style.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe Tekken doesn't. I mean, it does strive for photorealism, especially with the rendering, but they do have their own unique style, of course. But it just starts looking more the same, as every other game though, because it's just all made with Unreal Engine, and it's like, I don't know. It's just
these games like Virtua Fighter, Tekken, Street Fighter EX, they all had their own identities back in the day.
Yeah.
They even if they were 3D, they all had like different looks to them, like massively.
Yeah.
But now it's like, okay, Unreal Engine 5, it looks exactly the same. Looks like it has the same shading techniques. It has the same, bloom effects.
So I've been playing Stellar Blade recently, and I definitely respect the game. I actually really like the game. It's very fun. I like the art style, and I like the music and everything. But one thing that I've noticed, and it's another thing that I've noticed when it comes to like just to kind of piggyback off of like y'all's points, is that this Stellar Blade, if it wasn't for the graphical fidelity, like this game could have come out like 20 years ago.
Oh yeah. I mean, the thing is, I feel like the only reason why that game is so praised is because it actually, the art style is like, very reminiscent of something in that time period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like
And
it
the thing
is
is, it's so
definitely
dumb.
a game, but I just feel like people are kind of starved of like games that kind of like are reminiscent of that time period where people were more, edgy and like they basically didn't care if they put sexy characters and like very feminine looking characters.
I
I feel like
it's
if
really-
there's like a character that's too feminine looking, it just like gets people like pissed off for some reason.
Well, it's ridiculous because
maybe
this guy from
it-
Digital Foundry was saying, "Oh yeah, this is just schlop. It's like from a character design from a bygone era." But I'm just like, yeah, but that's what people want. People are starved of this type of entertainment where they see these type of
Yeah, I feel like
images.
it's true escapism. It's like, a lot of these game developers and journalists are like pushing this whole narrative of like, oh, we got to make characters look like real people. Like we did a survey, which they didn't even fucking say anything about the survey, like how many people they surveyed or whatever. But there was like, oh yeah, we surveyed a bunch of women and they say that they want to play with characters that look like they do. I'm like, when has that ever been a thing in the game industry? Like, usually people don't want to play. If you're going for escapism, you're not looking for things that you just see in everyday life, just regular looking people.
Maybe
You want to see like
just
you want to see
male-
hyper proportioned people. You know what I'm
I
saying? You
feel
want
like
to
that's
see
the normal thing because like the comic book nerd and freaking The Simpsons was he was like obviously a fat guy and freaking was just like obviously didn't look like a superhero, but he was super into it, and that's kind of like been the norm for since forever. It's like. You don't really want to look at like an average Joe on the screen or on, you know what I'm saying, or in media. You want to see a Goku. You want to see a Superman.
Yeah.
You want to see
Fucking
somebody
Dante.
that almost like not even almost, but it actually does like influence you to the core to where you actually want to strive to like be more like them.
I think
Motivation.
I think that kind of like protagonist that's like the average Joe kind of thing. I can honestly see the appeal, but I feel like this is more like a every once in a while kind of thing.
Well, look at
Well, yeah.
for instance,
The
like
thing
my
is,
fr-
it should be the other way around, where we do get that, but it's every once in a while, rather than every game is like trying to uglify the characters and like even if they scan models, they will just like make their fucking faces like
Deformed.
Yeah, deformed.
Yeah.
Pretty much every single game, that new Star Wars game, a lot of the Mortal Kombat characters that were scanned in, specifically
Jane.
the women only.
Mary Jane.
Mary Jane. They will literally just distort their faces to make them look like uglier, just to
Which is just
appease like some people that like took a survey, and it just kind of reminds me of whenever Kojima surveyed like schoolgirls about Metal Gear. It's like, oh, I don't want to play with this, Solid Snake, this old man,
Old man, yeah.
And
Even
it's
though
just
he was,
like,
like,
okay, and then he made
30 at
Raiden.
best.
He made Raiden. He made Raiden in MGS2, which was like, I didn't really
feminized.
Yeah, very feminized, trying to appeal to like Japanese schoolgirls, but like he just kind of like didn't give his fans what they wanted. They wanted to play as Snake, and then you kind of see with MGS3 how hugely successful that game is because he just brought Snake back. He didn't really give a shit about like this demographic that didn't even like they weren't
Play his
true
game.
fans
They
of
didn't
the
even play his
original
game to begin with.
Well, I mean, we've already had this discussion. I don't know if it's been.
No, it has
put
been
out.
touched upon in our previous videos,
But,
so I won't touch upon it too much. But
Yeah,
like,
but like the thing is, I think what a big reason, and I think this is a topic that kind of goes even beyond video games. I think the reason why everything kind of looks the same nowadays is because of like the progression of technology. There's no like limitations whenever it comes to like like graphics and like because like you look at back at like the the 60s and 70s and 80s. The culture kind of changed, and it was more stratified whenever it comes to like like a certain like mood, a certain sound. Like whenever like in the late 70s, you got YMO, you got Kraftwerk, fucking oh, we got machines that can make sound now.
Yeah.
Whoa, dude!
Yeah.
So you can just fucking make bleeps and bloops and make music with that. Whoa, my god! And then you have like a Dolby. You got fucking better technology to make sound, make things sound even better.
Yeah.
So you can work this in and all this stuff. And then like it just kind of changed with the times. Like the sound changed with the times.
Yeah, but I feel like it all has to
filmmaking
go.
too.
It has to go. That a lot of that has to do with like, I mean, the thing is there was new technologies coming out. But I feel like there's not really new technologies coming out.
Right.
It's like I feel like ever since the PS4 specifically, or PS4 and Xbox One, these systems basically use the same architecture.
Yeah.
They were very easy to port games from like Unreal Engine, and like you could develop a PC game and just port it to PS4, Xbox One, and just it's just like so every game.
If you look back at like comparisons of like SNES versus Genesis games, they look vastly different. But now the porting process has become so easy and everything is so like uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean even games run like there's a lot of games that are even compatible with straight up Linux now because it's just like Unreal Engine just has those tools to be export the game to Linux. So now Linux people can play the games.
What notable video game composers are current right now?
I can't even think of one. I don't think there's one. And the thing is, I feel like, just the whole like low res.
Nobuo Uematsu.
Yeah.
We don't fucking have people like that.
Well, yeah, I know. It's
Tappy,
Nobuyoshi Sano, fucking Ajurika. There's no notable game composers. I mean, I feel like there's still good ones. Like the Stellar Blade soundtrack is good. I mean,
it is.
Yeah.
I don't really like.
It's not
put
really
that
something that
person
hasn't
on
been.
a pedestal.
Well, I mean, it's. I guess like for that type of game to have vocal tracks in it is something that's kind of new. But the actual music itself is like
It's
a
not
mixture
new,
of.
actually.
Yeah, I know it's not new. It is good. I like it, but it's
Yeah.
not new.
Yeah.
That's what I'm kind of seeing is that like we're kind of struggling with innovation,
Yes.
and I just feel like there's just like a lot of games out there that just it's just more about like finding what is going to be like what trend is going to catch on. It's like Fortnite is going to catch on, so just like battle arena, whatever you would call that
It's
type of
literally
game.
like the freaking Inception. Brrr.
Yeah.
Everybody, and then like for fucking 20 years, or maybe not 20, but like 15 years, every fucking trailer used that.
Yeah,
same
and then it was like
Absolutely.
editing the gunshots to the poop, like all that
It's
shit.
like,
They're still doing that.
There's just these fucking
hate that.
tropes.
I hate that so
These
much.
these tropes that just get freaking like they just get so ingrained in the culture.
I just
and-
feel like
and
it's.
the psyche,
I
the
feel
overall-
like it's just immediately cringe whenever I see that shit. So say if I see like, some trailers that did the fucking Inception fucking sound, I was like, I feel like even the second trailer that I saw of it was like already cringe.
Yeah.
Well, what if you see a trailer where like you see like the fucking like the recoil and like being
Yeah, I know, yeah.
timed to like make a
It
song out of
actually
it,
fucking
and then-
makes
and
my
then they-
fucking brain hurt.
Yeah, and then like it keeps going, and then the fucking drop is the fucking.
Yeah, or every trailer that starts with the doo, like a piano.
Oh god, dude, that's the newest thing. Well,
No,
not
it's
even,
not
not
the
even
newest.
the newest thing.
That's like
It's actually been
fucking-
around for a long time, but
Yeah.
it's still being used.
Did
That
you guys see the Beetlejuice trailer?
I think
No.
I saw. I watched it without audio.
Okay, okay. So
Probably
they
for the
did
better.
exactly what you might have assumed that they did. It's like they took the song from like the original Beetlejuice, like the reggae kind of song, like well, did you guys?
I don't
watch
know.
Beetlejuice?
I didn't ever watch
So
it.
there was a song that was like in the original movie. So they took that song, and they just kind of
nostalgia baited it.
They did the piano thing, and then like they made it all slow. And,
Can't fucking stand it. Dude.
Yeah.
Every time I see that in a trailer, I'm just like, wow, I mean, like it's so obvious what you're doing.
it
It's just
sucks
kind of like,
because-
oh, we're gonna pull out their nostalgia.
I know it's like I just like referred to it as nostalgia porn. I mean, that's really what it
Yeah.
is. You know, it's just like, oh yeah, just feel the nostalgia. You know, just feel it. You know, I'm just like, okay. I mean, I feel like there's just too many fucking movies that are doing this shit. Like that Flash movie, it was just a fucking culmination of all of that shit. You know,
Star
I don't know.
Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars. Even the trailers for Star.
Dude,
You know,
I mean, to be honest with you, there's like there's not even a limit on the number of trailers that have done this that I can even think of. Like, you know, like there's been so many of them that I just lost count straight up.
I feel like the
Ghostbusters. You
Yeah.
already mentioned that
dude,
one?
I mean, it's
No,
not
we
even
didn't
worth
mention it,
even.
but-
Like, I feel like it's every fucking
Jurassic
trailer.
Park.
Yeah.
we're just like seeing like all
Indiana
these,
Jones.
we're just seeing all these fucking like just we're just seeing these weird examples of like memes that are like are just like living too long.
Yeah.
I felt like,
yeah.
what I was saying, I felt like maybe the second or third trailer that I see that is copied the same thing, I already get fucking like annoyed
Cringe.
by it.
Yeah.
I get I cringe and I fucking can't stand it.
It literally kills my
but I
brain
feel
a
like
little bit.
that's kind of why I like Christopher Nolan's trailers, is because he doesn't do that at all. I'm not even really like a huge Christopher Nolan fan anymore, but like I do respect his trailers and stuff because they don't really follow these trends of like, I mean, they actually set trends, but like, I mean, I remember the Dunkirk trailers were fucking like awesome. They were just like a movie on its
Interstellar trailers were
they were
awesome.
they were a movie on its own. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, man, this is really something really unique.
Well, the format that I really like, I actually want this format to be like replicated. I want other directors to do this, where they do like a little, like, they do prologues. I love like as much criticism that I have for Tenet, I love that they did a prologue for that movie. Like, dude, you just show the first like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, yeah. And it's like the film version of a demo.
Yeah.
Of a video game demo.
Yeah.
Where like, you know, after the scene is done, you show like little like, you know, like little like shots of like, you know, oh, this is what you have, what's in store for you after the fact, you know.
You know what I wish would happen more often? Because so whenever that Dune movie came out,
Yeah.
so I want to say it was about 6 months before it came out, they had a like straight up public screening of the first 15 minutes of it. You could just literally go to the theater for free. You didn't have to pay anything. You could just go see the first 15 minutes, and then they had like a mini, like maybe 30 to 45 minute documentary of just like about the music, about the fucking cinematography, the making of, the like, interviews with the actors.
Yeah.
and
It's just like a-
yeah.
like a
I mean, I feel
featurette,
like
basically.
it was like a little featurette that you could just go to the theater and watch. I feel like I would much rather prefer to see something like that than just a fucking trailer, you know, or just yeah. I mean, I fucking can't stand like these fucking trailers. But anyway, I feel like we're kind of getting off topic from the video game industry
we
stuff.
are.
So I think the point that we were trying to make was, what was it? It was just like we've kind of peaked, you know, in just technology.
Yeah.
And I feel
because of
like
that. Go
yeah,
ahead.
no, we've peaked in technology, and then everything is just like becoming the same, and it's really
Yeah.
just about like following the trends and just you know, every game, every developer, you know, they don't want to take risks because these new games that are coming out, they cost like $200 billion or $200 million.
300 million in some cases.
Yeah. Like, and they can't, the more, this is why I think the innovation is going to be happening with the indie game industry, is because their budgets are like way fucking smaller and they're just made with a fucking small group of people.
Yeah.
But, you know, these big studios that are making these AAA games, they put in so much money that there's just committees of people that are making all the decisions, and all these decisions that are happening in the game have to get approved by all these
Yeah.
people. And it's just like, they're not going to let some game that they spend $200 million on,
$300 million,
yeah,
dude.
$300 million on. They're not going to let it just like, they're not going to take,
by the
they're not
wayside.
going to take risks on it, you know?
Yeah.
They're not going to try to innovate. They're going to just try to, oh yeah, we're going to get a piece of that fucking, you know, that, from software pie, you know, some of that. What do you call it? That type of game,
Souls-like.
Souls-like. Yeah,
Souls-like,
we're just
yeah.
gonna make a Souls-like game, you know.
So we're just going to capitalize on that trend.
Yeah,
We're going to capitalize on the Fortnite trend. We're capitalizing on the Minecraft trend. There's literally games that just straight up look like Minecraft. But
Yeah.
They're just like action games.
Can you
I'm
believe
like,
there's a
that's
fucking
dumb.
Soulsborne Star Wars game?
Yeah, I mean,
Souls-like
yeah,
Star Wars game.
Yeah, I know. I remember when I saw it, I immediately saw it. I was like, okay, this is like literally trying to be like fucking Sekiro or some shit, you
Yeah.
know, or fucking Bloodborne. and the gameplay at least. I mean, of course, the art style looks like Star Wars, but that's like, okay, you got one IP, you're gonna make a fucking Soulsborne game out of it, and then it's like, okay, nothing new, you know? It's Star Wars mixed with fucking Soulsborne, you know?
I remember seeing, like, I went to Google to, like, search whatever. And you know how, like, you go to the Google app or the search bar and, like, there's, like, little articles below the search bar? I literally just saw, like, maybe like a couple days ago, it's like, this quirky Souls-like game will catch your interest. It's like, what?
Yeah.
The fuck, man?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy because, like, I feel like if games were to just kind of, like, even just take a step back and just go back to kind of, like, the basics. I mean, for instance, like, like I was telling Brian the other day, you don't see any game that is not a third-person action game anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like probably 90% of games now are just third-person action games, the same control mechanics for the camera and the character and the freaking L2 to freaking aim or whatever, and it's just like the same exact fucking shit that Call of Duty set in place, and it's just like imagine if you were to go back and like play like a Metal Gear Solid 1 top-down type game again. That would actually be refreshing.
Yes, I agree.
But people say that it's dated, but that's because they're so freaking conditioned to just to play these games that are like they play MGS1. They're like, what the, or MGS2 even.
Why is there like
There's absolutely nothing wrong with the controls in MGS2 or like any of the.
I saw so much hype for like this. There's like this Bloodborne game, spin-off game, indie game. Not even indie. It's so indie. It's like it's like a fan-made thing. Where it's a fucking Bloodborne racer with PS1 graphics.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
And it looks fucking amazing.
Yeah,
I think it's out now. I think
that's why I keep saying that like with the new Virtua Fighter game, they actually need to just like, dude, the title of the game is Virtua Fighter.
Yeah.
And they need to go back to the old school graphics. Not maybe necessarily to part 1, but Virtua Fighter 2 was like a really good sweet spot to where it still looked like
Virtua Fighter. It actually looked like Virtua Fighter 1, but with an art style, like an actual art style,
Like that's the sweet spot. If they're going to make a Virtua Fighter 6, they need to just straight up go back.
Well, the thing is, I feel like, just fuck, trying to make it photorealistic. Just make it look kind of not necessarily cartoony, but just something of that era, of like where the just identity.
Kind of amped up, though.
Yeah, like the identity of the whole franchise to begin with. Just go back to that. Make it, make it look flashy, but don't make it look like photorealistic. Just go for that art style.
Everybody's going for the photorealistic look these days.
Well, I mean, not every game. I mean, I feel like Samurai Showdown isn't trying to do that.
Not every game, but like, you know what I'm saying. I'm just being a little hyperbolic here.
I mean, the thing is, like, that new Samurai Showdown game looks awesome. Yeah. Like, it's not even trying to be photorealistic.
But that's because it's not photorealistic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I mean, that's what they're not trying, and it looks fucking awesome. They actually focus purely on the art style. And I feel like that's actually like the best looking fighting game that I've seen, by far, because like the fucking stages. I mean, the stages have always looked awesome in Samurai Showdown games, but they didn't fucking like cut corners with that shit at all with the new one. They actually like have awesome looking stages. The animation is like, it's not perfect. It's not like as good as fucking Street Fighter or some shit, but it's exactly what it needs to be. I think
that's the problem. That's like the major problem if you're able to do anything. Like you end up not being creative because you don't have those limitations where you don't have the pressure to make you creative. So like it's almost like imagine if you can just like you can learn to do like anything. Like you're in a dream and it's like, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna fly, right?
Yeah.
But instead of like that, you're just gonna, instead of having like a lucid dream, you're dreaming about fucking like you're driving in traffic and then you fucking get into an accident and you fucking like
you have to report the accident and shit.
Yeah, that and then like and all of a sudden there's like a fucking green monster that fucking comes at you and then you have to deal with that or whatever. The point is like it's people were way more creative whenever they were under like limitations and they couldn't.
I remember that's why I thought that like even Metal Gear Peace Walker was like better than MGS5 in a lot of ways. Yeah, because they were literally made it on the fucking PSP.
Yeah.
And they literally we're gonna have to fucking make this game have a good story.
Exactly.
We're gonna have to make the tapes in this game like fucking the best we can make them.
Because you can't just show anymore. You have to tell.
Yeah. And it's just like whenever you have just like access to
Limited
fucking
resources?
Yeah, whenever you have unlimited resources,
Like
the creativity
Metal Gear
just
Solid
goes out
5.
the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, we're just gonna make the most photorealistic looking game, and it's just like we're gonna make a walking simulator because just the graphics are just so fucking good that we're just gonna make it look like fucking awesome. You know, it's gonna the fucking rendering is gonna be great, and it's just people are gonna eat it up because it's just you just walk in through this fucking crazy photorealistic environment. I'm like,
Yeah,
that's not
dude.
interesting at all.
These freaking AAA studios need to start learning how to slash their budgets way
Dude, the
down.
thing is, I think what they need to start doing, like big time, is making like $20 to $50 million budget games.
Yeah, I would agree with that. In
So
fact, I would
basically,
even say
take
that,
like so instead of making one $300 million game, make
five.
5 new IPs and then see which one sticks. And the thing is, make them all great.
It's kind of like what I liked about the Sega trailer that they showed, where they had like 5 games. It's kind of like the exact philosophy that I was talking about.
Yeah.
It was like they didn't even use their freaking their time spot, their TV spot, so to speak, at the Video Game Awards to show like one new game. They actually showed like 5 or 6 new games that looked like they weren't trying to like these games like Jet Grind Radio, freaking Streets of Rage, Golden Axe, all the Shinobi. None of these games look like fucking. What do you say? Like $300 million games.
Yeah.
But they're probably-
all just
they're
like,
probably-
they're all $20 to $50 million games,
And they're probably all better than $300 million
yeah.
games.
And that's what these. It's what they need to do with Virtua Fighter. I think they need to pump a little bit more money into Virtua Fighter than those other games, just because it's like, you know,
A big IP. And
big
it's
IP. But like, they need to at least spend like $50 million on it and just like scale it back, make the animation amazing, make the graphics look old school, like Virtua Fighter 2, but
Yeah.
like amplified. Like make the draw distance further, make the freaking stages like a little bit more geometry.
Yeah.
And just like make the engine, maybe even just make it.
Dude,
in
the thing
same
is, I
engine.
feel like a lot of the problems with the later Virtua Fighter games is that they tried to be even more realistic, even in the way that you fight. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
Virtua Fighter 2 felt like really snappy and shit, really fast. It was, you know,
Kinda
it
like
wasn't
very arcadey. just
Yeah,
like
it was.
fun.
Yeah.
It's kinda like
yeah.
the-
It was just focused on being fun.
Like in Metal Gear Solid Substance, like the cutscenes, and you fucking added like fucking MGS1 Snake to the fucking. You guys remember what I'm talking? You guys?
What's that?
Like an MGS2 Substance, where you actually get to replace the characters in like the cutscenes, and like you know you have fucking Solid Snake, fucking, and I think even the not the Colonel, Revolver Ocelot, like the PS1 character models replaced the characters.
Yeah.
But it's like really funny because it's like 60 frames per second.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
on HP and shit.
Yeah, I remember that shit. It was fucking hilarious, man. You know what? Now that you mentioned Metal Gear Solid 2 Substance, I feel like that's kind of the perfect example too of like limitations. So
Yeah.
basically, think about the VR missions, because the VR missions are actually way better than the main game. Like you.
Oh, there's a lot of text.
No. I'm talking about the actual VR missions. Playing the VR. Like, I remember when I was playing the VR missions, when I was playing it for the first time, I was like, "Holy shit! This is actually like a real game that actually has real game mechanics. The levels are
Talking
thought
about
out.
the Substance?
Yeah, because the levels are thought out so well that you have to fucking really like be creative with how you tackle the missions.
That's why I'm a pretty big. Yeah, I'm a big
And
fan
it's
of
like
VR
the thing is
missions one and two.
Yeah, so basically the VR missions they look boring compared to they're not photorealistic.
the
They're just
actual
literally
design.
it's just like
They're actually, like,
but it kind
funner
of
than the actual
yeah.
game.
It goes to show that like whenever you're gonna make a fucking level just made out of a bunch of blocks and shit,
Yeah.
you have to be like extremely creative about how
yeah.
the fucking level design is gonna be. You know what the fucking mission, like how you're gonna tackle the missions. You know, like you really just start theorizing about like what a game even is. Like, okay, we're not gonna just like it's not gonna be some fucking like crazy looking area with like Yoji Shinkawa designs.
Yeah.
It's like it's just pure.
Well, the crazy
gameplay.
thing about like the VR missions is that it's almost like the antithesis of like Kojima's philosophy, and where it has to be like super cinematic, and there has to be like this story. You have to go through these cut scenes where there's like 30 to fucking an hour long cut scenes, you know. But this is just like the raw, just like stage design.
It literally tests the limits of the game's mechanics.
Yeah, and it's awesome. I remember this one sniper stage that always comes to mind when I think of Substance VR missions, and it was just insanely fun.
Well, here's the crazy thing though, is that like with Kojima's trailers, whenever he did those like long gameplay trailers where he's just doing all this crazy shit with the gameplay, where it seems like almost staged and shit.
Yeah.
I remember I was like, man, I really want to have I want to do this shit, you know. But I never really felt like I was doing that shit until I actually played the VR missions.
Yeah.
Because like you actually had to do that shit that was in the
never
trailers.
actually put in that position. Well, because like, you know, they have to think about the average game player. They're not going to be, you know, smart enough to like, you know, be able to handle those kinds of situations.
Yeah, but I mean, if you just put the time in, the level of satisfaction that you get out of beating one of those missions that's especially hard is freaking through the charts, dude.
They really fucked up with 3, in that they didn't have their version of like, you know, VR missions.
Yeah, instead they did it online, which was in its own right. Like,
I think it's kind of. It was probably a lot harder to do VR. They should have done it, but because that game was so like the terrain was so organic. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of harder to do like
yeah.
MGS2
VR
was
missions.
definitely more grid based.
I think they could have done some sort of like maybe like field.
Yeah,
or,
they
like,
could have.
Yeah, they could have done something like that for sure.
And then
But
but
probably would have done it extremely well too.
Yeah,
if they
it would have
just
been way
taken
better than
time.
the actual game. I already know for a fact.
MGS4, no excuse.
Well, the thing is, you know what they replaced it with was the online mode,
Yeah,
and
that's what I'm saying.
that in itself was
Yeah.
fucking awesome. And MGS3.
Sure. I'm just saying, like, you know, when it comes to like having like the tradition of a VR like missions kind of like thing, you know, they did it with 1 and they did it with 2, and so with 3, it's like, okay, well then why not, you know, have like a thing where like it actually tests the limits of like the gameplay of 3, and like, you know, with 4 before they had no excuse because, you know, fucking, you know, okay, yeah, maybe you had the excuse where in 3, well, it's the Cold War era, it's the 60s, so how are they going to have a VR thing, right? But like,
Doesn't even matter. Just do it.
yeah, just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, we didn't have VR in 2005 either.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like, you know, games need to be more limited. Like, they need to have limited budgets, especially the AAA games. But, you know, this kind of goes to say, like, with what I was saying, is like, whenever you're making an indie game, if you actually are really wanting to make something unique and innovative, you're going to have to, I mean, you're going to be building it on a shoestring budget, and you're going to be trying to test everything.
Kind of fucked with the mic a couple of times.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're going to have to really like the developers are going to be put to the test, you know, and they're going to have to make something that's just like unique and visionary.
Another thing that I've noticed is that like with the AAA game industry, you have these companies that tout the fact that they have like, I think we saw a trailer or some video that mentioned like a studio recently that was like, oh, we got like 8,000 people working on this game. And I'm like, dude, that is insane. I remember whenever it was a big deal, it was like, oh yeah, with Jeff Keighley did this report called the Final Hours of Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yeah.
Back right before the game came out. And they were like, they had a trailer for it. It's like, oh yeah, behind these walls, a team of 40 has been working diligently on this game. I was like, damn, 40 people?
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking solid right there.
You know what? You know what's kind of crazy? Whenever you have that kind of structure with like like less than like 50 to 100 people, is that things you want to know why there were so many great games that came out in the PS2 era that was just hit after hit, innovation after innovation, is because they had small teams.
Yeah.
And they had decent budgets, but they also had small teams that were working on these games. So you have to think that I remember I saw a video recently about like some guy that's like a video game veteran, and he's been like at, I forgot what studio he was at, but it's been like he's been there for years and shit, probably decades. And he was like, he had proposed that, like, you know, for like a bug fix, just a simple bug fix or something, you know, like that they needed to write some code.
I think I heard, like,
Yeah.
because of bureaucracy, red tape.
No, exactly. Yeah. So basically, like, he tried to like get them to implement this code, and he was like, well, we need to, you know, just do this, you know, just like. And then there were one of the executives were like, oh yeah, it's going to take 4 weeks to do this bug fix, you know, so we had to get it approved and this and that. And he's like, what do you mean it's going to take 4 weeks? I can literally write the code on this board right now. It's only going to be about 10 lines of code to fix this bug. Like, what do you mean it's going to take 4 weeks? It's like, oh, the guy that's doing the code, he's going to, he said it's going to take 4 weeks. And, we got to get it approved, and we got to get it, just this committee has to approve it and everything. And so it's like, whenever you have that much red tape that you have to clear and that much, that many hurdles just to do one little fucking fix in the game, of course, like, these games are gonna fucking like release all fucking buggy. They're gonna have day one patches. It's like that's kind of the whole thing. Patches, it's like it's kind of crazy how many good things can come out of like
condensed team.
Well, not just because I feel like whenever you have a condensed team, unlimited team, that there's no, like, everybody is just kind of like more autonomous.
Yeah.
Everybody's free to do what they want to some degree. Yeah, they have like a schedule and like tasks to do.
And
but like, say if it's coming from just a director like Kojima or something, or just, anybody that's just like, okay, implement this bug fix. He'll just task it to somebody and then it'll get done immediately within 1 day.
Yeah.
But like, or maybe an hour or something,
There's probably an understandable reason why it is going to take 4 weeks, because that programmer is like going through some other shit of his own from his perspective, but that's because of the consequence of there being such a big ass team.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so
especially whenever you have like I was mentioning earlier about this. Oh, we had 8,000 people working on this game. There was like we had 8,000 people from like 5 different countries. I'm like, how the fuck is that even?
How are you going to get anything done?
Well, efficiently at least.
Well, not only is it not efficient, but it's like, I feel like you're just a cog in the machine. Like everybody shows up to work, they do their little thing, and then whenever they're done with their task, they just slack off for the rest of the day or some shit. And they're just like, wait for the next
people like that.
Yeah, and then like whenever whenever everybody's actually fucking like part of something, you know what I'm saying? That they're like, they know it's going to be great, and like everybody's striving to fucking just make the fucking game as good as it can be. Like, people are going to be working on it, all day, and just okay, I'm done with this task.
They're going to feel fulfilled.
Yeah, they're going to. What do I do next? And then you have meetings. You have a small meeting table. You all get together. You all fucking think about like you're all on the same page. I feel like whenever you have 8,000 people, nobody's on the same page.
Yeah,
it's just like,
imagine an 8,000. Group of people that fucking like know and love each other.
It really pisses me off that like the current video game, the AAA freaking studios think that this is like some sort of selling point. But like, the thing is like, what that tells me is that these games are way too big for their britches, dude.
Yeah.
Because like, and that's another major problem that I wanted to touch on, is that these games are just too fucking big. Like, you have these games that are just massive these days.
Yeah.
Like, no, I can't even.
There was actually a survey with like young gamers where they actually said that they don't even the thing that they hate about new games is that they take too long to beat.
Yeah, no,
like,
they
you have
don't
to put
even
100+ hours into every game.
Nobody
you fucking play.
finishes games anymore. Nobody does. It's like actually a very rare thing for people to fucking beat games.
The thing is, it's funny because you guys would do this, these past couple of months. You guys would ask me like, "Oh, you're playing this game? Oh, did you beat it yet?" It's like, no. When was the last time we played it?
How many hours have you put into Stellar Blade?
Stellar Blade?
Yeah.
I'd say maybe like, it's probably about maybe 10 hours.
10 hours? The thing is, that's already halfway beating Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yeah.
Or that's
halfway.
Like... Yeah, you could actually beat the game. Well, maybe not on your first...
Even close.
Are you talking about like gameplay alone, or...?
Just the full experience for the first time.
Yeah, I guess Metal Gear Solid 2. Was it a 20-hour game? I don't know.
Maybe 15 to 20 hours.
I think it was closer to 10, actually.
Yeah? Well, maybe I'm thinking MGS4. But MGS4 was definitely like 20 hours.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing, is that these old games, they just like, they didn't suck up like fucking immense amounts of time. I see the appeal of it, but like, for something like Red Dead Redemption 2 or something.
Yeah.
But that's actually an innovative game,
Yeah, but like,
well, not only that,
even that was like probably a little bit too much. I mean, people got sucked into that. It was like crack. But like,
Well, even like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the guy that we were talking to,
yeah, a
at
guy
work
that we
was
work with was literally just saying, it's like, all right, so he's a huge.
Yeah, he
Final
literally
Fantasy.
took off 2 days just to play that game when it came out.
And then so he beat it. I was like, so what were your thoughts, dude? It's like, yeah, it was good. It was very, very good. But my main complaint is that it was just so freaking massive. And I'm a completionist. So I have to like go in and I have to do every little thing. And it took me literally like freaking, I don't know how many, 100 hours he said, to just complete the game. And that's just chapter 2. Compare that to like Final Fantasy VII, the original one on
which
PS1.
was like 50 hours or something?
Yeah, it was maybe 40 hours that you could actually beat that game.
Yeah, 40 hours. Yeah, that's about the average. The thing is, I don't know.
Now it's 100 hours
For one chapter.
per chapter.
The thing is, man, I don't know.
And the thing is, this is
I
just
kinda-
one of the
I kinda-
reasons why these people are just not really playing fucking AAA games anymore, because they're almost like they're just too much, dude. It's like you can like pump in like $1 billion into a game and just have it like this endless freaking thing. And then people are just gonna come into it and be like, "Damn, dude, I'm gonna have to spend like 800 hours just to beat this game." Fuck that. I want to beat a game in like fucking 8 to 10 hours, like Metal Gear Solid 1, which was like a full ass experience in my opinion.
I think I used to be like against. Maybe like 2 or 3 months. Yeah, about 2 months ago, I would disagree with you. Right now, I'm on the fence because the thing that like my disagreement with that point. If a game is good, and if you're having a good time playing the game, is it more better? If you're having fun, if it's bloated and like but then it's like I understand the philosophy behind it because
But here's the thing: is that this guy is like a massive Final Fantasy fan, and he like was looking
but he is a
forward.
completionist though, right?
He is a completionist.
How
But,
many
like,
how many gamers are a completionist?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I mean, the thing is, like Sean was saying, this is one chapter. And it's like, I mean, if you're not a completionist, say you chop off 20 hours off the game, that's still like 80 hours.
Yeah.
That's like twice as much as the
Well,
entire
say
fucking
you
game.
chop off half and you're at 50 hours for one chapter. That's still like a lot of freaking time. Dude, back in the day, for a full RPG, taking only 40 hours of your time, that was like the norm. And I feel like that's a good sweet spot, to be honest, for an RPG.
Okay. Well, one thing I'm curious about because I streamed part 1 of Final Fantasy with you guys.
Yeah.
I didn't obviously I am not a completionist, hardly at all.
How many hours did we put in the game before we beat it?
Well, tell you what, we beat it.
Yeah, we did.
So like I mean,
It was great.
but like
But here's the thing. Every single game being like this now, it's not really like...
Yeah, I think it should be reserved for like certain games that are worth it, I think Final Fantasy VII is worth it. I don't think, I mean, I just feel like, the thing is, it's every game that's just longer now. Like Zelda...
They pump
fucking-
in $300 million. Of course they're going to want you to
fucking
play
Metal Gear
the
Solid.
game for a
Metal Gear
longer period of
Solid
time.
went from like the previous entry taking you 20 hours to 100 hours. It's like I remember like the thing is the problem that I have with like
You're talking about 4 to 5, right?
Yeah, the 4 to 5. Like Metal Gear Solid 4 was 20 hours, and then Metal Gear Solid 5 was 100 hours. So it's like it's just whenever things are spaced out that much.
Even as a hardcore Metal Gear fan, I was like, dude, this is just way too long. Way too fucking... And the thing is,
is the main story, is the main quest 100 hours?
What, for Metal Gear Solid?
Metal Gear Solid 5?
Yeah, I would say it's about 100 hours. Yeah.
Was it?
Maybe not that much. I think we were like a little bit a completionist whenever it came to that. But the thing is, we
Okay,
weren't.
well, dude, like I was saying before, chop off 20 hours to get rid of all the 20 or the completion.
So now
stuff.
you're at 80 hours.
Yeah, so say it's 80 hours. That's still like eight times longer than the original, like the game that came before it. That was already people were complaining was too long. So it's like, not only that, but like I feel like whenever you have these games that like, they're just not a condensed experience. They're just like, oh yeah, we're just gonna sandbox everything. It's like, instead of waiting, 12 20 minutes for every cutscene, you're gonna wait like fucking 2 days.
Yeah, we're gonna have
you know?
a darts board in the game where if you if you spend like 5 hours on this, maybe I'm exaggerating, but like if you spend an hour on this darts board, you unlock a cutscene that's key to the game.
Okay, well,
it's like, dude.
yeah, I think MGS 5 was the worst. It's like the worst example of that.
Well, yeah.
Good,
Talking about the pause missions and shit like that.
Yeah, I think so far from the sort of like open world like games that I've played, or I feel like if you were to focus on like the main story, I feel like I think it's like a maybe these game developers need to work a little bit harder on like making it more clear on what is more meant to be like a main path for like for someone who wants to complete the game, and for like what's extra, because for example in Red Dead Redemption 2, you're just kind of like riding on your horse and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then you're just going from point A to point B, and you get somebody to like you have somebody like flagging you down like, oh, please help me, blah, 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 right? So somebody that might be inclined to like maybe help that person might get into that and just kind of like add that much more time to their like gameplay time. So maybe that might be a problem. But then like the thing is, this is where I'm kind of like this is where my disagreement is with you guys. Like again, if you're playing a game, and let's even say that this is a game that's like within a series. For example, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Okay.
There's going to be another game after this. This next game is not going to come out for like at least like another 5 years.
Well, the thing is, you want to know my honest
Actually,
opinion?
I heard that
You want to
it's
know my
not-
honest opinion?
Uh-huh.
Is that I wish that Final Fantasy Rebirth was a little bit shorter, dude. And I wish that the new one, because we just started playing this one.
Right.
It's actually daunting to me that we're going to have to spend like fucking 40 hours just like going through this game. I wish it was only 10 hours. Actually, don't you?
Yeah, I wish it was shorter.
Yeah.
There's a lot of extra shit that's in there, but like, I feel like everything
I know
is
it's
just,
all
everything
good
is
quality shit.
everything is drug out. Like I'm saying, this is an exception though. Final Fantasy VII is exception. I feel like there's just too many games that are this long though.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, because so like with the first game, I would say we spent I wish I knew how much actual time we spent on that game, because in my personal opinion, pretty much every second of time that I spent on that game was like great.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And I just didn't, I didn't think, there was never really a moment where I was like playing that game with you guys where I was thinking like, man, this is getting kind of long, man. Oh my God, like the pacing is like not that good. That's where that's the crossroads where I'm at right now, because I understand if it's something like say some game like a Bethesda game where you're just kind of like there is a clear like path. There's like like a main quest, but like it's more like scattered. It's more scatterbrained. So you're just kind of like going around and you're wandering around and you just kind of run into things, and so the gameplay time is going to vary. But I feel like if there's like a clear line between like the main quest and like the side quests, if you partake in like the main quest, you're not. Honestly, I don't see the problem between something being like it can't be drawn out if you're having fun the whole way through. It's basically that's my main message.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like he said, Final Fantasy is probably an exception because it is a game that is highly, highly polished
Yeah.
throughout the entire fucking game. But you have a lot of games.
yeah, if you're gonna have like a Star Wars game that's like a Souls-like game or something that's like kind of sucks, that's like fucking 100 hours or some shit, like nobody really
And it's
gives
just
a
like
shit.
mid, dude, and nobody cares. And it's like they just keep, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of these games are just, like I said, they're just too big.
You know what? Again, I've been playing Stellar Blade, right?
Yeah.
And so
Don't you want that game to be shorter?
The side quests are pretty shitty.
That's what I'm saying. Man, that's case in point. Case in point, dude.
It's literally just like you go to this point, and oh, I lost my cat. Can you find my cat? You go over to the cat. Oh, it's dead. I'll go back to the bulletin board and inform them that yeah, your cat.
Yeah, dude. Imagine playing Metal Gear Solid and then you had to go find somebody's cat. It's like in a remake that they made.
Yeah.
You know, they just like opened it up like, oh yeah, you have to do all these side quests. No, dude. A focused freaking game is the best.
Yeah.
And I think it's the best experience. Like, sure, it can be open, but like at least focus it enough to where like you're not wasting people's time with irrelevant bullshit.
Okay, I think I'm starting to understand what you guys are saying. I think maybe the length isn't necessarily the problem. It's just that it's too bloated. It's too fat.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not. If it was nothing but like actual content, it doesn't really matter how long it is.
Yeah, I just wish games would get to the point more often.
Yeah.
You know, just like focus more on the main storyline rather than all the fucking filler kind of like monster of the week type shit. Where it's like
if there was a game that was 80 hours, but it's nothing but point. Like
yeah, I mean that's exactly what Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3. I guess
not,
4.
They were more like 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII, right?
The original, yeah.
Original and the remake.
Yeah, but the thing is, whenever you condense the game down, you're going to inherently get more quality out of it.
Yeah.
That's another thing. It's like a lot of these studios, they're not freaking Square Enix where they can just like actually they have a talented writing team and like people that are like actually paid to like passionate. They're passionate and they're, dude, like most of the games that come out now are just like really freaking drawn out.
Yeah.
I'll just once again use Metal Gear Solid as an example. Like MGS5 was just like, dude, I just want to like get through the game. Like I don't care about like grinding. Like whenever they introduce grinding into the mix, I'm like, dude, I don't care about this.
Yeah.
I don't care about building my mother base. I really don't. Like in Peace Walker, it was okay because it was a little bit more manageable. But like with this one, it's like, oh yeah, this is like fucking way bigger, way more freaking like,
on
just
paper,
time consuming.
On paper, it was a cool idea on paper to be able to walk around on Mother Base and stuff. But like just the fact that with Peace Walker, it's like okay.
It's all grid, like just fucking basically just menu based.
Yeah, menu based, and you just see like a really limited like it's like oh now you have a factory. Now you have this, and now you have that. But the fact that you were like now you can like walk around and stuff, and you can just like go in there and shit. It's like not really needed. Kind of a cool idea, but like the way it was executed, yeah, man, it's just. No, I understand where you guys are coming from because, fucking yeah. Again, like I said before, MGS5 was like probably the worst offender.
Oh yeah,
when it comes to that shit. You literally had to fucking. I think didn't you guys have to like start to replay missions that you've already done, just to get like I guess experience to enough.
Yeah, there was that. There was just like the
rest?
like I think the main subplot that really pissed me off was just like the whole pause thing that they introduced.
Oh my god, dude! Yes.
Which I know we've talked about, but I'll just be brief. It's like you basically like are introduced with this plot line that like Paz is still alive.
Yeah.
After she died on the helicopter and shit with a fucking bomb in her and shit. When you're like, what the hell? So that wasn't actually a thing?
That shit could have been resolved in one mission.
Yeah, I know. And the thing is that they just drew it out so much. They literally had you beat like 9 to 10 fucking missions just to get to the end of it, and it was all just a dream.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm just like, dude, this is so freaking lame, And like, it was completely unneeded. It probably wasted about 3 to 4 days of our freaking playtime on that game, because we just were
like literally the entirety of MGS4 for us.
Yeah, because Paz was such a good character in the previous game.
Yeah.
And you really wanted to know what was good. You kind of like were hoping that she was actually still alive. And but then they just like shat on at the end of it. They just shat all over you. Well, let's subvert expectations. I was like, dude,
I actually
that.
I wouldn't have had a problem with the ending if it was just like maybe 1 or 2 missions.
Yeah, and just
literally
like short missions.
It's actually not a bad idea. It's like, oh wow, you think she's alive. But then you find out it's just like your big boss's wish for her to be alive was just
so
like,
much fucking effort went into that side quest. It's like even some of the best songs in the game were made for that fucking mission and shit.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, this is so stupid, you know? It's like...
And you get to the end of it, you're just severely disappointed.
She just disappears and shit.
Yeah, it's so dumb. So dumb, dude. It's so freaking ridiculously stupid. But, like, just going back to, like, the AAA thing, this is just a problem overall with these freaking, like what Brian was saying earlier about, like, just these studios being so bloated and so many freaking crew members are, like, working on these freaking games. It's like, there was a documentary, like a short video, I wouldn't even call it a documentary, but a short video that the team from Godzilla Minus One came out with, where they were talking about, because like Godzilla Minus One is like an anomaly at this point.
Yeah.
People are like, what the fuck? Like, this movie literally cost $10 million to make, and then it made over
remember all these
it made
fucking...
over $100 million at the box office.
Yeah, it's actually just like lightning in a bottle, this movie, because, I mean...
It's not, though. It's actually not. It's not lightning in a bottle. It's
just...
actually very calculated. And, yeah, there's a video that they put out where they were talking about how they were able to achieve, like, just focused freaking, production.
Yeah, I remember like watching a bunch of YouTubers that were complaining about like, oh yeah, man, these fucking, something needs to be done about the pay for these Japanese animators and stuff because they're just getting like they're not getting paid enough because this movie only cost $10 million and these animators are just like probably like working freaking like a slave and shit and fucking having to sleep under their desks at night and shit just to fucking make this thing happen.
Yeah. They're not getting paid next to nothing.
Yeah, but the thing is, they're used to fucking like $200 to $300 million budget movies that with the same quality as this.
Yeah.
So they basically came out with a documentary, a short documentary about how they actually achieved it. They basically just didn't waste any time on rendering unneeded fucking shots or scenes or anything like that. The thing is, they actually showed like the structure of like a standard movie studio. It's like with the fucking $100 to $200 million budget, and they were like, yeah, there's all of these middlemen that are just like making decisions. Kind of what I was talking about earlier about like the whole committee of people that's responsible.
Basically, the problem that you run into with like Shin Godzilla that they touched upon.
Yeah, it's like exactly, and it's like all the red tape that has to be cut. So basically, they had like a paper, right, that showed all of these fucking people in the middle, and then they literally just folded the paper, and they're like, yeah, we just cut these people, and then we just had the director talk and
directly to the
directly to the animators, and he the thing is the director himself is a like highly experienced in visual effects. So he was able to talk to all of the visual effects artists, and there was only about a team of maybe 30 people in the visual effects room, and they all worked in the same office, very fucking like
confined office.
Yeah, it's just like grassroots fucking.
And this
kind
guy,
of like
the director, he was on a rolly chair, and he was just rolling from fucking desk to desk. Going from one animator to the next animator. One animator's working on one shot, this animator's working on the next shot, and he goes there, okay, yeah, he's just like, basically just directing the freaking project.
It's like, so it's...
No bureaucracy at all, just fucking straight up like the thing is, it's kind of funny because there's like that, you read about that Madam Web movie?
Yeah, I
know.
So
it's basically like a movie where, it was a big flop. It was fucking huge budget. Didn't really like appease any fans or anything like that. And I remember the main actress that was in that movie came out in an interview and she was talking about like, yeah, I already knew this movie was going to fail from the very beginning. Because, she's like speaking out against that movie big time. But she was like, yeah, I already knew this movie was going to fail because, movies for the entirety of the film industry have been smaller teams of people that work with the director. You got the producers working with the director. Mm-hmm. You got all the visual effects people, the cinematographers. They're all working directly with the director, and they basically just do whatever he says, and like they'll collaborate and everything like that. It's more of a collaborative effort with a small team, and
more centralized.
Yeah, more centralized, more just like autonomous. Like people are just like able to do things on their own, and just like, oh yeah, check out this thing that I did. They're able to just like bring things to the table rather than just like just like a cog in a machine, just like, go to work and just do whatever the fuck like is on your to-do list from some other fucking higher up that just like.
I definitely want to see like I want to see the evolution whenever it comes to like art projects, like back in the day, how they evolved into this like, this like huge like bureaucratic like quality assurance like fucking paradigm where you have like all these like middlemen, where at the time it made sense like, oh well, we got to make sure that this is like going right, and and the intention is for it to kind of smooth out like the process.
Yeah, but now we have technology that like can take care of a lot of the stuff that they were worried about back in the day.
So there's no reason to even have these fucking massive budgets, because you can just use the latest technology. You can use AI as an assistant. You don't really need to have localizers as much as you needed to before. So that whole thing is just like unneeded now.
Thanks
so
to
like,
AI, you're probably gonna fucking see studios that are like 3 people.
Dude, it's already a thing. That's what we were talking about. The indie game scene. They're literally making games that are actually innovative. They're like they're at a quality that people find to be, basically just presentable and acceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, so say if you're like a studio in Japan, right, and you want your game localized for the U.S. market, and so you would have to work with like localizers, and these localizers could be just activists. You know what I'm saying? And which most of the time they are, in the West. So they will just like censor your game inadvertently, like to where it's like, oh yeah, we're not gonna put that fucking thing in there. We're gonna change it to where they're saying this instead,
Yeah.
And
Be more safe.
Yeah. So basically, the actual intent of the director, the vision is like being altered by some fucking person that's like halfway across the world, fucking that doesn't like care about like what the director's intentions are.
Yeah.
They're just gonna change it to suit their agenda or whatever. So that's what I'm saying with AI, with localizers. Like, say if you're Capcom and you want to fucking, or you're Konami or fucking whatever Japanese game studio, and you have a game, you don't want it to be affected by like some Western activist like localizers. Mm-hmm. You'll just get AI to like, okay, yeah, just translate this into like some Southern character, make him have like like he has a lingo from Tennessee or some shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like something very specific, and it'll actually do a very good job, and it's only going to get better. About like actually
and it'll do it in
translating.
a fraction of the time.
Yeah, no, and you don't have to worry about having your game censored by like some sort of like somebody within your own company that's in a different branch.
They just doesn't know what the fuck they're talking
Well, the
about.
thing is, I don't know if it's true or not, but I would just say like that these middlemen that like, for instance, like Godzilla cut out. Mm-hmm. Those are the types of people that are fucking toxic anyway.
And they're unneeded. They're
unneeded. They're toxic. They're like, they have bad ideas. They're the ones that end up ruining projects because they're just like, oh yeah, this has to go through me and my fucking like expertise, I'm like, and then that ends up always hurting the end project. Always. Whenever you have a fucking game or a movie designed by committee, it always ends up.
Yeah, I mean, remember this is something that.
I wonder if there's a reason. I wonder if these middlemen might be the reason why everything looks the same nowadays.
Well, I think that's
a factor into it for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely a factor.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a factor into it for sure, but I also feel like this is why you don't really see very many like good comedy movies anymore.
Yeah,
it's because think about like. Comedy. It's obviously like true comedy is very like politically incorrect. Or not maybe true comedy, but like a huge factor of comedy is politically incorrect. You go to see a freaking comedian, whether they're left leaning or right leaning, they're just like very politically incorrect.
Yeah. They're always saying stuff that makes the audience uncomfortable to a degree.
Yeah, but it's also like funny at the same time.
Yeah, uncomfortably funny.
In my opinion, I think there's like a higher level of like understanding that takes place whenever it comes to like the subtlety of like comedy. So like, for example,
Okay, actually, no, better not. So, fuck.
So the thing is,
No, wait.
okay.
But it's important. So like, so if somebody tells an offensive joke, that's really fucking offensive. It takes a certain level of like cognitive, like fucking nuance, to know that that person doesn't really mean that. For example, say somebody says a racist joke, but that person isn't racist. They're just saying it because it's fucked up to say.
And it's funny. I mean, it's like, in the scenario, the joke is funny, considering the, the stereotype.
But they don't really mean it. That's what makes it funny. There's that element of
The thing is, committees don't understand that.
Yeah.
Whenever you put say if you're like a big a big movie studio, this is actually something that Jerry Seinfeld recently came out and said. He was like talking about like why comedy is like not, it's not a thing anymore. There's no comedy. There's no comedy movie industry anymore.
Yeah.
It's because the way the movie studios work these days is that they don't have small director and director and then the artists that they're working with. They don't have that relationship.
Basically,
anymore.
they've diminished the role of the director to actually direct anything at all.
Yeah.
It's all directed by committee. It's
But the thing is, like, as soon as you do that, like as Jerry Seinfeld said, the comedy's over. It's like there's no comedy. You've lost
comedy
your
is
comedy.
finished whenever you get
We're back
involved.
to the fucking beginning of the George Carlin era, where he fucking had to fucking go on live television and fucking say the 12 bad words.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. And he was one of the people that also spoke out against this type of thing.
Yeah.
Massively. I mean, I think he has the best actually commentary on this type of thing, where like you just can't expect good comedy or good writing. To be more broad, like you can't expect good writing to happen. Like for instance, like look what's happening in Hollywood and the gaming industry today. We have all this like uber woke bullshit that is just infecting the industry. It's because the people at the top their interests are like their shareholders, right?
Yeah.
So the shareholders are pushing like things like ESG, DEI, whatever. All of these freaking things, huh?
I don't even know what the fuck you even just said.
They're pushing these agendas that the uglification of women is a very calculated thing.
Okay.
It's not just like, it's not a cultural thing. It's something that's coming from the corporate executives and beyond.
Yeah.
And those things infect the creative process. I can guarantee you that
It's the fractal of like communism and capitalism.
no fucking like game creator has a intent to make a game
that nobody plays
or nobody likes, but Sweet Baby Inc. will make sure of that, dude.
Well, not only that, but like you have the more so he's like talking about BlackRock and Vanguard too. So these companies, these major corporations that they literally
So
just
is Sweet Baby an anti-vanity project?
Anti-vanity? No, they're like a consultancy group that'll just
yeah,
basically like they will
joke,
come in and they will write your game for you to make sure that it like marks off all the woke checkboxes.
Their argument is that the earlier you get them in, the better for your fucking game to be like politically correct to the T.
That's what I meant by vanity.
Yeah.
And I think that is actually one of the major reasons why fucking gamers are moving away from the AAA market too. Amongst all the other things that we talked about today, this might be one of the bigger reasons actually. Is because a lot of games there was a poll recently, I was just watching a video about like, they took a poll to ask a lot of people who, whether or not they wanted political messaging in their games, and they said no, 60%. And I think, thing is like, if they try to appeal to like these people that aren't even going to buy their games to begin, hold on, wait. If they're gonna sit there, Sweet Baby Inc. and all these other corporations will freaking come in and like force you to have these freaking quotas of like having like this many women, this many people of color, or this many freaking whatever. Yeah. Just like this LGBT messaging or whatever into the game. A lot of people are just kind of like not whether or not you believe in the LGBT movement or not, it doesn't really matter. Like, the fact is that the majority of gamers don't want to have political messaging in their games.
Well,
and it goes with the same with movies, too.
It adds a certain, like, second layer to this, because, so, the whole, like, go woke, go broke, or whatever the fuck that shit is. So you have these corporations trying to, like, appease to this, like, vocal minority. But it turns out it's just like, dude,
Those people don't buy your game.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like you said before, like so like I wonder if
It's kind of what I was saying about like the Kojima trying to appeal to the schoolgirls. It's like the vocal minority. It was not even the vocal minority. The minority of people that had nothing to do with this game that would, they didn't care. I mean, you're literally going to make a political espionage game that appeals to the Japanese schoolgirls. Like,
I don't know, man. Well,
dude, it failed. It was already tested and it failed. Like the Japanese schoolgirls didn't give a shit about MGS2.
The only people that ended up buying Metal Gear Solid 2 were fans of the original. And people that like tactical espionage, not Japanese schoolgirls.
Well, I guess in my case it was a.
That's
happy
why they
accident.
reversed course.
Oh
with
yeah,
3.
well you're a Metal Gear fan.
That's
so
that-
like you saw like what Kojima, he made a Metal Gear game. He didn't make a fucking like K-pop game or some shit. You know what I'm saying? He added that element to it. But like he didn't. It was still a Metal Gear game at the end of the day, which is why we fucking love that game. Which is it definitely stuck true to like what the identity of Metal Gear is, but it just added this element that was like kind of
it just
like
goes to show,
very
like, don't
jarring.
make a game that is going to like go against the audience that is going to buy your game.
Maybe
Because the proof is in the pudding. Look at the very next game. They literally made fun of Raiden right off the bat. They literally had this thing where like, oh yeah, did you play MGS2? And then he just like rips off the Raiden mask. They literally made it a point that Raiden was a bad idea. And that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, remember all of the
man.
the thing is like you have to think that like that kind of ruined Kojima's like legacy for a small bit of time. And he had to like immediately correct to actually appease his fans, make a new game with Snake, and then that was known as the best Metal Gear game in the entire series.
I mean, fuck, man. I guess I'm the odd man out whenever it comes to that, because I fucking, we've already had this conversation, but like, yeah, I fucking.
You like Raiden as a character. I like Raiden as a character too, because I see him more than just what like the K-pop fucking like surface that he is.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But like
The vast majority of people don't.
yeah,
Unfortunately.
and it was actually bad for the franchise. Luckily, he corrected the course and like made a game that was just like the actual true identity of Metal Gear.
I hate to be a prude, but I feel like I feel like if you don't appreciate Raiden, you're not smart enough.
Well, I mean, I'm smart enough to understand Raiden. All I'm saying is that, they have. It was something that was very jarring for most people that actually were fans of the original game, and they didn't like Raiden at all, and it was just something that was unneededly like,
Kind of thrust it into the game.
put into the game.
Man,
I mean, do you think if you were to just replace Raiden with a more masculine character, that it would have been less deep?
I don't know. Maybe I'm wearing nostalgia glasses, but like, man, it's just I like the idea of like someone who's like weaker.
Well, yeah, dude. The thing is, in order to be weaker, you don't have to be like this hyper feminized character. Like you could be just a green soldier.
Green soldier.
That's exactly what fucking Snake is in MGS1.
I see
Metal Gear one.
I see artistic value in Raiden's design. But then again, I'm a fan of like Yoji Shinkawa, I like Final Fantasy characters.
No, don't get me wrong. I get all that. I actually appreciate all of that too. I like Raiden as a character. Now, here's the thing that I can uncomfortably admit is that I definitely would have rather have had a full game with Snake at that time, and I think it would have actually been. I think they could have crafted a story that was way better.
I'm going to be the odd man out here because I remember looking at the strategy guide in 2000, one, and looking through there, it's like, oh, this is a new character. Holy shit, what the fuck? This is like a new guy, and like I really appreciated his design. He looked cool as fuck to me. And I don't know. I don't know. I have this like affinity for for like fucking just like cool characters, whether they're fucking muscular or fucking like more lean.
Squall or like Titus or Cloud.
Sure, yeah. Because I just have that sort of like it's like
You like that Final Fantasy element, and that's kind of what they
Exactly.
introduced into Metal Gear.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I did. That's actually before I got into Final Fantasy, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But like it's just like this. Like, I like the contrast of like you have this fucking like
Yeah,
rough.
well, even in Final Fantasy X, you had Titus and you had Auron.
Auron, yeah.
Yeah.
I just like the contrast. Well, yeah, exactly. That's probably the thing that like got me into like 10 is that there's that contrast between like this like it's almost like a yin and yang, right? And like I don't know, I just like that. So I might be in the minority. And
You
I guess
probably are.
I probably are.
But
Probably am,
like
yeah.
I'm not dismissing your points here, but like I personally think that a more masculine character for MGS2 would have been a better idea.
I mean, the
I
thing
don't
is, like, I mean, you can do that in so many ways. It doesn't have to be
I just
like
wish
something
that-
that's so drastically different. Like, say, like Top Gun, for instance, like the new Top Gun Maverick. Like the characters in there are green. Even what is his name? Goose's son. What was his name? Rooster.
Yeah.
Rooster. He's kind of like that type of Raiden character that's very flawed, has his fucking like mental problems
Yeah.
and stuff, and like. But he's
overcomes
he's not this
Well, the
like
contrast is-
hyper feminized character though.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have to be hyper feminized. And the identity of Metal Gear, I don't think really had any sort of like hyper feminized characters other than Raiden. Which the thing is, like, I think he belongs in the game. Obviously it's the route they took, and it came from Kojima and everything like that. But
and it was good.
it was good. It was well done. You know what I'm saying? It's not like there was just some shit that he just put out. That was
Yeah,
like
yeah. It's not like he did
some fucking-
Ghostbusters 2016 or something.
And I'm not saying that that's what you guys are saying. Not at all. Like I understand it. Like
It just didn't fit the already like established art style of the game, where every other character in the entire game is like not necessarily like masculine,
Yeah.
but they're just like somebody that it is a military espionage game.
Yeah.
So that type of character doesn't really like aesthetically fit into that type of universe.
it's just something about the watercolor.
I mean, you're talking about fucking Yoji Shinkawa's artwork.
It's just I don't know, man. It's just Yoji Shinkawa.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's a master at his craft, so he was able to fucking.
He was able to take this idea that I don't even necessarily agree with, and he was actually
He made it work. He made it work.
Great with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he made it work for sure.
That's where I'm coming from. It's Yoji Shinkawa, Yoshitaka Amano. It's just
Well, the thing is, Yoshitaka Amano is like established himself as like making those types of characters and putting them in the games.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you look at
I
like
think-
Final Fantasy games, they have a lot of like
Yeah, just
feminized
name 3 of them
characters.
for you.
yeah.
I mean, every
Well, he didn't
character
direct- he
in
didn't
Final
develop
Fantasy
it.
15 is like pretty feminine looking. You know what I'm saying? And that's not Yoshitaka Amano, but it's Final
Yeah.
Fantasy.
Yeah,
And a lot of people didn't like that about
I
it,
guess
though.
that's the link that I have. It's like that's why I feel that Raiden is like. I actually don't. I just don't relate to. I understand where you're coming from.
You don't
with the-
relate to the hate.
I don't relate to the ignorance. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't. Whenever again, I don't want to repeat myself too many times. It's just. I feel like it was a perfect like. I feel it's more of like a yin and yang situation with Raiden and Snake, rather than like an invader coming into like this fucking like
Only the yang.
or sure, yeah, I would say that, yeah, only the yang, and it's like I already appreciate Metal Gear Solid 1 where it's like these fucking masculine characters, and just fucking you have these sexy female characters, and there's like a clear divide there, but like I totally was not even taken aback at all by like a feminine male character. Not even. I was looking through that strategy guide. I was like, oh, this is a new character? Oh, cool. This is like...
Well, I think like one of the better decisions that they made is that even though he's a feminine character, they still made him like muscular and shit.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
So they did a good job there.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, like anybody that just judges Raiden by strictly his character design is like just looking at the surface, you know? So they don't see anything past the surface, which is like, you know, I think Raiden is a great character. I do think that he could have done with a more like established look that the franchise is known for.
Yeah.
But you know, I think he could have benefited from that, and the franchise would have benefited from it. But you know,
Well, when it
I think
comes
something even like with MGS4 that they did, you know, where they made him like a cyborg ninja or something.
Yeah.
Something a little bit more fucking like badass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he wasn't a badass in MGS2, so that's like, you know, part of his story. You know, his. I mean, you know,
yeah,
but it's
and,
like,
and again, that's where
yeah.
you know, that's where I'm at, right? You know, it's like I actually like that he wasn't a badass compared to Solid Snake.
Yeah.
I like that he was like, I actually like that he was kind of a bitch. I do like that because you have that contrast where it's
You
like,
would, wouldn't you? No, I'm just joking. Just kidding.
why do you got to call me out, dude? No, but like seriously, it's like. I just like the idea, you know, we've talked about this before. I think it might even be in the last video where it's just like, yeah, I just like a fucking idea of a fucking already established character that you played as that fucking grew and it's like became a fucking even more badass and you got this fucking, you know, you're playing as the guy that's being mentored by the guy that you played as.
Even within the same game.
Yeah.
All right, so getting away from this Metal Gear Solid 2 topic a little
Yeah.
bit, we were talking about just basically Sweet Baby Inc. and like a lot of the stuff that you know the gamers are having a lot of problems with, and I think that's definitely one of them amongst a lot of the other stuff that we talked about. I mean, I think there's a slew of there's probably all sorts of other. This is a very nuanced kind of topic.
Sure.
You know, like there's a lot of things that are contributing to.
I think what
to
we
the
were
decline
saying before,
of the
the
quality.
reason why we brought up Raiden was because we were saying that like the people that like are calling for this type of like you know uglification of characters and everything like that aren't the types of people that'll actually buy the game.
Oh, right.
And like I was saying, the case in point was
We actually got into a 15-minute tangent over that.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. But yeah, the thing is, well, yeah, it's actually, but that is a really good point. Is I wonder if there's like a certain trope that should be documented whenever it comes to like marketing. I wouldn't be surprised if there already is.
Oh yeah, there
Of
are
like
obviously is.
these group of people are complaining about our game. Wait, hold on. Wait, are these the same group? Is this the same group of people that are actually going to buy our game if we make these changes?
I don't
Well,
think
I mean,
I don't think that is anything that they actually look into, and I think if they actually did, that they would be way more successful.
I think they did, and I think the perfect example was Stellar Blade.
Well, the thing is that Stellar Blade probably isn't owned by a company like
no,
BlackRock.
they're just a
They're
studio,
just
yeah.
a studio in Korea
Okay.
that freaking makes these games. Like they're outside.
They're
of
actually technically an indie developer.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just a studio, a privately owned studio. They're not fucking owned by some corporation or anything. And
Yeah,
it's
well,
just like kind of goes to show
Now
that
I
like
feel like my criticism is a bit harsh.
so basically like you know these studios. It's kind of going back to what I was saying about like the indie developers. I mean, you have to think about like it should be more about like smaller, hungry developers that want to make something that just like okay, we want to make a game. What do we want to make?
Yeah.
You know, and then like it has to be just on track from there, you know? And, but I feel like whenever you have like these huge fucking corporations that are involved with like making sure that you check off all the boxes and all that shit, and like, okay, we bought the Star Wars IP, we still need to make a profit from it. How are we going to make more money from it?
Right.
We're going to fucking make this big fucking game. We're going to make profit. And, you know, it's going to be played by a bunch of people and everybody's going to be into it. Like, you know, if we already spent the money on Star Wars, so how are we going to make it freaking, like, you know, successful? And the only thing that these studio execs, like the really fucking high up people, are just going to fucking make the most corporate fucking thing that's, like,
Most
acceptable.
profitable.
No, not the most profitable at all. They think it's going to be profitable,
Right.
but but the thing is, at the same time, they're you're talking about a corporation that is owned by like BlackRock or something that owns the majority shares, that has every say in what the game is even going to be.
Like EA, or for instance, or
Yeah,
something.
or Ubisoft or something, and like they're the ones
Ubisoft?
who they're the ones that are like dictating what, like they're the ones that let Sweet Baby Inc. come in and fucking write their games for them. Like, oh yeah, we're this big corporation. We have we have our outsourced writing team. That's Sweet Baby Inc. They're going to come in and they're going to write the game. We have these people in India that are going to make all the assets, for low, just pennies on the dollar. We have some programmers that we're going to pay on fucking Fiverr or some shit, that are just going to fucking code the game or some shit. It's just like
Nothing is cohesive at all.
Yeah. So it's basically like these fucking studio execs making these fucking games. It's not like a grassroots fucking like developer that's like privately owned that doesn't have any influence from the outside fucking corporate structure. So it's like, I think that's why I was saying that like indie developers they're the only ones that are really going to be making games that like they want to fucking sell. You know what I'm saying? That like, okay, we want to make a game. We want to make pure escapism, just fantasy, fucking like make fucking badass characters. We're gonna write this fucking thing how we fucking want to have it written. We're not gonna fucking bring in some fucking other outsourced fucking writing fucking team that's gonna make the game just like corporate as fuck. And yeah, so that's I feel like that's why games like you have like Valve games like Half-Life Alyx or whatever. You have even Kojima. I mean, I know like his games aren't really that great. I mean, well, at least Death Stranding I don't think was great, but at least it's like a very unique identity, and that was like a privately owned company that like that he doesn't have any. There's nobody like studio execs telling him how to fucking write his game. Like, could you imagine somebody were to come in and buy Kojima Productions and it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna bring in Sweet Baby Inc. and they're gonna write your games from now on.
Dude, it would literally be just a woke disaster.
Yeah, the thing is, at the very least, when it comes to Death Stranding, hey, if we're talking about like innovation. Like, hey, I mean, he at least put a fucking like idea out there, but also, like, it kind of makes me wonder, like, yeah, well, when it comes to Sweet Baby Inc., like, it's almost like well, like diversity isn't like the strength there, because like, you have all these like different cultures like clashing. I feel like it's almost like a bad example. Whenever it comes to like different like cultures like coming together, it starts to work like over time, and we get used to it, and that's whenever it starts to work. But whenever it comes to different philosophies like coming in and like clashing with everything else, like fucking, like Sweet Baby Inc. is like, okay, you got this fucking foreign like idea of like fucking sexy ladies fucking coming in, or not even like, or just like, you have like a set certain kind of like standard when it comes to attractiveness in this game. Like, for example, Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
And so like, okay, you have these characters that are like, okay.
Was that Sweet Baby Inc. that came in and changed
No,
that?
it was Nintendo. It was a branch of Nintendo of America that developed that game. It was an American company that developed
so it wasn't
that
even
game.
Sweet Baby Inc.
No, that one wasn't Sweet Baby Inc. That one was like basically like a Western studio.
Okay.
That is like Nintendo bought out. Well, I guess they didn't buy them out, but they're basically developing Pokemon Go. They made some other games that were like, I think it was called Cree or something like that. That was like basically Pokemon Go, but before Pokemon Go. And they basically got that studio to make Pokemon Go. So it was some Western developer that was like got the license for fucking Nintendo to make Pokemon. They made it, and like, so they're not really like taking orders from like Japan. They're like their own like autonomous fucking company.
They're a
that's
very
like,
westernized company that is.
Would you say that their goals are aligned with Sweet Baby Inc.?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, I mean, the thing is, you have a choice whenever you're coming up with like designs for your like character in Pokemon Go, for example, or you want to make your character look a certain way. And let's just say that you do that, and then like after like an update, your fucking character just fucking changed. It's like, why?
Yeah, to make it look more like what they think average people look like, which is, it doesn't even look like that at all. Like, I think what people that are playing, Pokemon Go, like, I can guarantee you, like, there's a lot of women that even play that game too. I mean, I know personally, like, at least a few women that played that game when it came out and shit.
I would go so far as to say that Pokemon is like popular, like equally among
Among the genders, yeah. So I think, there's a lot of women that play that game, and I saw on X that they were saying that a lot of them were complaining, like, why does my character look like fucking like some trans guy or something? It doesn't look like me anymore. It looks like a guy in like trying to dress as a woman,
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like a woman anymore.
Yeah.
They got rid of the hips. They got rid of the long legs. They made the arms fucking. They made the shoulders broader. They made it look more like a man.
Yeah.
So it's like what's the deal with that? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, only because of the agenda of like uglifying characters and making them look like unappealing. And it's of course they're only going to do it. This is the way that
I can guarantee you that if they came out with this game in this fashion, whenever it originally launched, that it would have been probably like panned.
Failed. Yeah, it would have
Probably would have
failed.
been way less popular. Way less popular.
Probably failed. Yeah.
They took a game that has been around for like probably closer to 10 years now.
Oh
they
God,
just
really?
and they just like made it unappealing to the degree that people are actually speaking out against it now.
Well, the thing is that's the thing that kind of bothers me, is that not only does it it actually alters the choices that you made for the design of your character. That's insane to me.
Yeah.
Why would they do that?
Yeah, they took your design and then they just like, oh, you know what? We're gonna make the shoulders broader, the fucking legs shorter, and the hips smaller, and the fucking arms longer.
At the very least, if you're gonna fucking change it, at the very least, have like a legacy,
A legacy mode that you can like kind of go back into and
yeah. Or at the very least, if you made that design choice, you get to keep it. At the very least.
yeah. This is the thing. This is just one. Once again, we're talking about this, and this is the thing. Gamers don't like this shit, and this is why the AAA games market is going to fail. It's going to crash. There's going to be the AA market is going to come in. They're going to swoop right the fuck in and just steal it from these people. Now, whether or not these corporations actually realize what's going to happen, and they actually recorrect course, who knows? But I actually don't think they will for a while.
Yeah.
I think it's going to continue on this path where the AAA games market is going to just continue to double down, triple down, quadruple down on these decisions, to the point to where these freaking studios are just straight up going to go out of business. Like legacy studios like Activision, like fucking Naughty Dog, Bethesda, fucking all these studios that are synonymous with high quality gaming are going to be reduced to freaking rubble, dude.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna just see a slew of new developers come in with their
new IPs,
with their $1 million budget games, just making fucking bank and shit.
It's still possible. What's that one game that's really popular right now? What's that shooting game that's really popular?
Fortnite?
No, it's like a newer game.
Valorant?
No.
Damn, I can't think of the name.
Whatever, but anyway.
Yeah, there's newer games that are the most popular games right now. The newest games.
Overwatch? I was kidding.
No, they're made by indie studios.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I'm actually curious about the name.
God, what the fuck is this game? I can't think of the name of it. It'll come to me. but-
Minecraft?
No, it's literally came out within the past maybe year or two. I don't know. I could have sworn you were playing maybe playing it with Hung or Helldivers.
Hold on.
Oh, Helldivers. Yeah.
That's an indie studio.
It literally just came out maybe 2 months ago.
Oh, 2 months ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought it was newer than that.
Okay. But yeah, it's this new game. It's the most played game in the world right now,
It's
and
so
it's
fun,
some
dude.
stupid, some indie studio that came out with a new IP. It's a fucking lower priced game.
$40.
Yeah, no, it's
Steal.
that's what I'm
that
saying.
$40
I feel like
price-
that's going to be the new sweet spot. Is indie developers coming
Especially
in,
with this economy, this worldwide economy that's just going to shit. People are going to be looking for cheaper games to play that are good quality. People aren't willing to spend like fuck. Here's the thing, dude. People aren't willing to spend $80 for a fucking game that like is just not what they want. You know, like whether it's over bloated budget, whether it's like freaking too many hours to fucking complete it, whether it's too open world, whether it's just like freaking feminized to the teeth, whether it's just woke. Dude, there's so many reasons why. I mean, whether or not it's just like your average freaking Unreal Engine fucking like game that was just made with a template, that looks the same as every other motherfucking game. It's just like, dude, people are just getting tired of the freaking AAA experience. They want something that's a little bit more modest in its approach. Like, I mean, for instance, I'll just speak from my own experience here. This is anecdotal completely, but like I think a lot of people I've actually heard a lot about this. People are just kind of just going back. They're just like buying a PS2 or they're buying a PS1 or they're buying.
They're building into emulation. Yeah,
and they're just like even young kids. Like they're just going into these.
There's actually a
like
shit ton of articles talking about how the younger kids are like going back to like older games and stuff like that, just because there's not really a lot of good.
Dude, the new shit sucks. I'm
starting to feel like
that's all there is to it. At the very end of the day, with the AAA gaming market, the new shit sucks. That is the freaking motto.
Man, now I know how the 60-year-old like Pink Floyd fans feel, dude.
Well, dude, the thing is, it's actually a real thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that was maybe a generational thing at that time, but like now, it's like it's actually cross-generational, where people's like, man, dude, these PS2 games, all these freaking retro game channels have been fucking talking about these games for like a long time. Maybe we should go back and play those. And then now there's a movement to actually go back and play them and like experience them. I mean, dude, for instance, like, I don't know, just randomly, Power Stone came to mind. And it's like, remember how much fun we had playing that game?
Yeah. Dude,
and I was like, dude, that was just a random game that like literally took zero fucking, it took zero experience to learn how to play.
That game is the city pop of fucking gaming, dude.
It really is. It's like a hidden gem at this point. Whenever we played it back in the day, I couldn't get enough of it.
It's like, okay, obviously this game is gonna fucking take off, but
yeah. Well, they did come out with a sequel, and it was extremely good. But after that, they just Capcom just dropped it.
It was because it was made on Dreamcast.
Yeah, both of them were.
Yeah.
So like they never really like cross-platformed that game at all. I really wish they would have brought that game to freaking PlayStation. The thing is, it was just a fun arcadey type game.
Fucking 3D Smash Brothers.
Yes.
Basically.
And in my opinion, it was actually way funner than Smash Bros.
I agree,
especially for the time.
Yeah, I agree.
You actually compared it to Smash Brothers on 64.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was way
I agree. It's straight up like never, dude. I remember the nights that we played at the Soul Ross house.
Yeah,
dude, we played it at so many different places. We just always revisited that game.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. A lot of people now, a lot of kids now, are just like, I want to go back and play these old games. They're like having a blast with them, dude. Dude, the thing is about Power Stone is that it's just like a fun game. Like,
and it's limited. It had limited technology, like we were fucking talking about at the beginning of the podcast.
I feel like now that like we've reached like photorealism in these games, people are just kind of losing interest. It's like there's no longer the excitement of like kind of just tracking the progression of like technology. The technology's already peaked.
Yeah,
technology's already peaked.
Yeah, I feel like I peaked a while ago. I mean, I feel like I still see like fucking videos of like the Order 1886.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, this game literally looks better than like most games that come out still.
There's like memes about like fucking Pirates of the Caribbean looking better than movies now.
Oh yeah, which it does. Yeah. I remember thinking that when I saw it in the theater.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the character that has the fucking octopus fucking face.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, dude, this shit looks realistic as fuck.
Yeah.
And I was
remember that scene where they were like fucking fighting on the ship and shit?
Yeah,
it was like the camera was rotating around them.
I remember seeing that. I was like, damn, dude, this is insane. And then now it's just like, that's just the norm. And it's like, looks worse. Like, they just don't even
compared
care.
to just your fucking Marvel shit that comes out. You know, like
at that time,
your fucking what was that latest fucking Thor movie that came out?
Love and Thunder. Or
Yeah,
whatever?
Love and Thunder. If you compare like Pirates of the Caribbean that came out like 20 years before, compared to like Love and Thunder.
Oh my God.
The fucking visual effects. It's like, dude, this is new shit. That's
There's a
like,
fucking
And it costs more.
Yeah.
There's a commercial video of the fucking, I think the director Taika Waititi fucking trying to fucking like do like a jokey kind of like thing where
I know that they suck. Yeah, the special effects suck.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
why would you even say
because
that?
because it
Because
does
it does
suck.
suck, dude. That's why it's irrefutable. Everybody
Yeah.
knows that Pirates of the Caribbean and fuck, dude, even Terminator 2, dude, look
Yeah.
better than this movie.
Yeah.
Like Terminator 2 to this day, and that came out like 30 fucking 5
The
years
fucking
ago.
CGI fucking of the fucking cop like fucking doing the finger thing, like that looks better. Like
Yeah.
how
Man.
damn, man, like it's just it just culminates. It's like the perfect fucking
The thing is,
bookend
like, that's
of
what I'm
like
saying. It's like
limitation.
Yeah, you have limitations. You have to like, oh, dude, we're gonna have to like, in order to do this shot, we're actually gonna have to build this fucking contraption of this fucking like blade that's gonna penetrate this fucking
you have
guy's
to
entire
combine the
fucking-
practical effects with CGI at the
Yeah,
time.
you
and
had to
gotta
be
do it.
had to be motherfucking creative to do shit back then. You know
Yeah.
what I mean, not even just back then, but just on a limited budget, you have to be creative.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, how are we gonna do this shot? It's like literally how the thing was made. You know, like
Yeah, we've definitely surpassed the balance.
yeah, I mean, if you look at like even in the '80s, The Thing, you know, it's like that movie is literally known to be like one of the best, like practical effects in Hollywood. And
Who the fuck even talks about the fucking like the film the remake? I think
The Thing?
the thing, but like the re-release or like
Yeah, they remade it like in like 2015, 2014.
yeah,
something like that.
I think it was a prequel.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was
Nobody
like
talks about that shit.
nobody, dude.
Yeah, that movie. I mean,
I forgot all about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like nobody's talking about that. It's like they're talking about the original one that actually fucking like
Paved
you
new
know where
roads.
they were like
day.
they were like limited in
To
what,
this day, 40 years later,
I think that's the
not
thing,
30,
though.
40
I
years
think that's
later.
the thing, though. I think people in large just like want to see new ground paved. They want to see paving new ground.
Unfortunately,
But the thing is, like, we've already paved all the ground, and now we're just
Yeah.
at the top now, and we're like, all right, so what's the new shit?
what's exciting today?
And there's nothing. Like, it turns out, nothing is exciting because people, like, they've basically run all the actual creative people out.
Yeah.
And now they just have like this fucking committee system where like everything is just fucking
We're literally
shit.
going to have to rely on AI being advanced enough to come up with some new shit.
Yeah.
No, I think
mean,
we're gonna have to rely on people that know how to use AI and like can do shit on a limited budget and can do creative shit.
Well, that's definitely preferable,
Yeah.
for sure.
yeah.
God, dude, you don't know fucking the movie Terminator, dude, always comes to mind whenever I think of just like a limited budget and just like really, really fucking nailing
Yeah.
the freaking like
The thing is, like, luck,
everything.
Well, luck, too. I mean, just imagine fucking getting fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger, like, for that role. And fucking getting Linda Hamilton? That's her name?
Yep.
Like, fucking the perfect, just perfect.
Everybody was perfect in that movie.
Yeah.
Edward Furlong, fucking Robert Patrick. Everybody was perfect, you know. And the thing is, they were all fucking. It's like, oh shit,
Michael
this is a
Biehn.
James Cameron movie. I got to bring my A game, you know.
Yeah.
You know, they see the effort that everybody's putting into the production, and they're like, okay, I got to make sure that I'm bringing
Yeah,
my
that's
shit
the thing,
too.
dude. This is why Terminator 1 and 2 were so good, is because they weren't made by committee. They were made by
James
James Cameron. James Cameron was the driving force behind all those movies that were so good. Terminator, The Abyss, Aliens, freaking Terminator 2, True Lies, Titanic, and even Avatar. Like, all those fucking movies have been, like, extremely, like, he is, like, the golden boy in Hollywood. He,
Yeah,
like,
but-
has made the most profitable movies. And he knows the formula.
Yeah.
He knows how to, like, you know, reach people's
and
fucking
apparently he
psyche.
knew it even back then.
Oh, yeah, he did.
The thing is, like, it's funny because we talk about, like, independent thought. Independent creative thought. That's like, you know, that goes against the norm. The irony is that this, you know, in this rebellious norm appeals to the masses.
The rebellious norm appeals to the masses. What do you mean? Oh, you're talking about like somebody that's like an outlier and will just like go against the norm. Like everybody will kind of flock to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like it's fucking,
Yeah, but the thing is, like,
it's
you
a
know, you have to,
paradox
yeah,
almost.
but the thing is, like, the norm is created by the fucking corporate fucking, like, establishment. You know what I'm saying?
The norm is the corporate structure.
Yeah.
The fucking
And
outlier
I
is
guess
the
people-
one that the fucking creator.
Yeah, and I guess I don't know because like I guess people get bored of the norm and like somebody like you know.
Yeah, the norm fucking sucks. It literally sucks. Like, people get bored of it. It's like, it's just like, you know, kind of what we're talking about. It's like we're at the peak. Nothing new is happening because like the norm has already been established with Unreal Engine and fucking like. Yeah, no. Just
I was about to yeah. That's
It's boring.
Sean,
The
that's the
norm fucking
perfect.
sucks.
Sean, that is the perfect example.
Yeah.
Is the fucking like like whenever it first came out, it was so impactful.
Yeah.
It was so cool. It was so new. Fuck, even fucking with Alien Covenant.
Yeah. Oh, no,
The Alien Covenant trailer?
Prometheus is what you're talking
Oh,
about. right?
Prometheus, yeah. Prometheus. With that shit, like, wow.
I think that's the only trailer that I've seen that actually did it good too.
Yeah, exactly. But like, you know,
Well, the thing is that they were more so playing off of the original.
Yeah. Well, it mixed
Alien
like
trailer.
it mixed like.
oh, the
with-
Alien trailer, the original Alien trailer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
the
mixed
original-
it mixed Inception with the original Alien.
So
trailer.
in a way, they actually like, you know, they're piggybacking off.
Yeah,
of
I know.
the-
That's what I'm
right,
saying.
right,
But the thing is, it was well done. I'm not gonna say that the
Sure.
Alien or the fucking Prometheus trailer was shit. It was actually very well done, and a lot of people actually referenced that as like, oh yeah, man, you know, like these aliens, like this new Alien Romulus trailer looks fucking awesome. But like, how many times have we been deceived with good Alien trailers? You know. So it's
Yeah.
like, but you know, I actually like Prometheus. So I know it's a very unpopular opinion, but.
Anyway, I think, guys, we need to go and wrap this up.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah. It's been a good comeback, and if you want more of this fucking shit,
We're gonna have to pay us. You
Follow us on Patreon.
You have to join our OnlyFans.
if you want more of this, dude, you're gonna have to come behind the paywall.
You have to join our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
Yeah, we
man.
got a secret Patreon that you don't know about. So just join that. Give
OnlyFans.
us some of your fucking money.
Maybe we should do a live stream with Super Chat, dude. Be like, hey,
I'm actually confident that we definitely earn at least $1.
at least.
That'll be
least.
We'll split it
that'll
three ways, dude.
At
That'll be
least.
worth it.
It's at least 3 ways. Hell yeah.
We'll get
Anyways.
we'll get a fucking a gumball from the gumball machine.
All right, it was good reconnecting, and let's do this more. And signing out, Next Gen Cast. Boom.